Oh, we need to do that trash. Needs to go in the trash. Don't let me leave this little bit of trash here, Zach, when we go. Hey, kia ora, Helen, Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling tune-up Tuesday. It's been an awesome, awesome day. I have just finished working for the day. My groceries arrived. That was it. I was done. The groceries are now all away. And we're about ready to rock out of here and go for our walk in 93 degrees Fahrenheit with up to 28 mile per hour wind gusts. Yeah, the awning had to come in around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, somewhere around there. Yep, and for those of you in New Zealand, it's 34 degrees centigrade. So yeah, it's a little on the warm side, and it's only April. I'm sort of like, oh my goodness, did I really agree to stay here during the summer? But that's the way it is. So, how has your Tune Up Tuesday been? So, Tune Up Tuesday's topic for today is all about, when you're doing your tune-ups and your fine tunes. Yesterday we talked about planting the seeds. Today we're talking about weeding, taking the weeds out. And my mother's going to absolutely crack up watching me do these garden analogies this week because I know next to nothing about gardening. I did not pick up her green thumb. I will kill just about any plant that anybody gives me. Peace lilies tend to survive the longest with me, but that's about it. I can't keep a garden growing. It gets overtaken by weeds. Even somehow in Virginia, we managed to keep roses. And people are going to go, what? They're like the most difficult thing. And yeah, we had to deal with black spot a lot of times. And yeah, we had our challenges. And I am not the world's greatest gardener. Absolutely not. I am happy to hand that over to my parents because they have got awesome green thumbs. They can grow anything. They even have a little camellia. Well, I don't think it's so little anymore, but they've got a camellia bush that's actually called Helen. That's the name of the flower that actually blooms on this camellia bush. It's called Helen. So, and it's this beautiful white camellia. I think it's got pink on it. I'm going to go find the photos my mum sends me. But yeah, so anyway, so today the tune-ups is all talking about weeding. It is weeding out what you don't need and making sure that what you do need is in the garden. So if the little things are now sprouting, the little seeds are sprouting, are you pulling out weeds or are you pulling out the good stuff? You got to be careful. You got to watch that. That's why I never weed anything, because if they're at that stage where it's just breaking through the soil, I don't know which is weeds and I don't know which isn't. And I could end up pulling out the wrong things. Pay attention. I even thought at one point of getting like a little container and doing a little garden in that. And then I thought back to all of my disasters in gardening, and I thought, I'm going to save the plants, not do that. I'll put fake ones in there, or I'll put little scenes in. There's some really cool, as we go walking around, and if you follow me a few months ago when I was taking photographs every time we went out for a walk, I don't know if I actually took photographs of this one. I did take photographs with this one. There is one house that's on the street behind me, and they have this whole fairy, goblin, wizard thing going on. No, fairies and wizards going on in their garden there. They've got these nice tall, like 12-inch statues in there, and yes, and down to the little fairy places and the big fairies and the elves and the wizards, and it's really cute. So let's see if I can get pictures of those tonight. I think they're still out. But it's just really cute how they've done the scene. They've got all gravel, and then they've got this. And a lot of people around here, if you have the cacti on your property here, you cannot remove it unless it's dead or dying. Because apparently the cacti is all protected or something. So there's specific ways that you can trim the cacti, and certain cacti you can and cannot trim. And I'm just like, yeah, don't give me a place with cacti in it, because if I just have to leave it, that's fine. I can leave it and it'll do whatever it has to do. But if I have to do anything with it, yeah, that ain't going to happen. They have even killed succulents, and you don't even have to water them. Well, you give them a little bit of water every now and again. And I somehow managed, I don't know how I did this, but one time I was in Mesa. It was before I got Zephy. So this would have been back in 2019. It was October 2019, so I decided to come to Arizona that for the month of October. I think it was October or September. October. And I ended up spending 6 weeks in Arizona. And I was down in Tucson, and I went to the Tucson movie set that they have out there where they do all the westerns and everything. That was old studios. I went down to Tombstone for a day. I went to the Air and Space Museum that they have there near in Tucson. When I was up here in Phoenix, and I rented a car when I was down there, and then I rented a car when I was up here as well. And I was actually down in Mesa at the time, and I took a ride out to Apple Junction, which is really cool. It's this little ghost town area thing. It's awesome. And all the old buildings, they've preserved all the old buildings, but they turned the insides of them into shops and things, and really cool stuff. I mean, I found this really cute little apocryphy where where the woman who owns it hand makes everything, all the soaps, all the lotions, all the salves. She distills her own oils and uses them to make her soaps and everything. And her soaps are so amazing, you would think they are slices of fudge. That's how good they look. Because I went in there and I'm like sniffing these things, and they smell amazing. She had this chocolate mint one that was sort of like yum. And then she looks at me and she goes, she says, just so you know, those are actually soaps. And she says, a number of times we have kids coming in here thinking that they're blocks of fudge. I'm sort of like, oh, damn, they're soaps. But, they were just amazing smells. They smelled so good. You could eat. They looked good. They smelled good. And they probably wouldn't have tasted very good. But everything that is in there, she has handmade. And so I love that little store. And so I bought some of the soaps. And she actually has a Soap of the Month club that you can sign up for. And they send you different soaps each month before they go on sale in the shop. So you get to try all the new flavors of soap that come out. And then just up from there, about half the street, because I walked up one side, and the apocryphy shop was the first. Well, the ice cream shop was first, but I skipped that. I was saving that for later in the day. And I just walked up one side, across the top, and came back down. And there was a saloon on the other side of the street. And that's where I stopped and had lunch. And then I continued my walk down, went back and did a couple of because I did all my looking first and then went back and figured out where I was going to go. And I was working on my Christmas shopping at the time and figured out what I was going to go and get from where and all that sort of thing. Then after that, I went and had my ice cream, and then I left. But then a few doors up from where the apothecary was this succulent store. Everything in there was cacti and succulents. And I have a daughter-in-law who loves succulents. And they had these little treasure chests that were probably about this long, about this wide, and about this high, and the lid was open on them, and they had these little mini succulents inside. And I'm like, ooh, I have people that would like those. And so I'm now sort of like, hang on, this is towards the end of October. I've got to keep them alive for 6 weeks. I've got to keep them alive to the end of December. Can I do this? And so then I decided I was giving them, and they all got them at Thanksgiving instead. I wasn't pushing my luck on that one. I only had to look after them for like 3 to 4 weeks. Actually, no, it wasn't even 3 or 4 weeks. It was only like 2 to 3 weeks. I had to look after them for like 2 to 3 weeks, and they all got them at Thanksgiving. But I said to the woman, I says, okay, I am somebody who kills plants. These are gifts, and I need to keep them alive till Thanksgiving. And I live in an RV. What do I do? And so she gave me a piece of paper that was very detailed, step by step. She's okay, they have been spritzed today. You don't need to do anything with them for a week. In a week, this is what you have to do. And it was all written down there, very clear. And I managed to keep the succulents alive for the 3 to 4 weeks till it was till Thanksgiving when I gave them to them. I said, I'm not risking these being dead by Christmas. I thought it was hilarious. So it's how do I get on all of that? Wow. It was a really great day, and I had a great lunch in the saloon. But I forgot to ask the waitress, hanging from the saloon in the because they had an area that was open up to, and you had like a big dance floor area. They had this area that was open up to the ceiling, but then they had like a little loft area, and on the underside of the loft area, over the actual bar area, there were all these cowboy boots hanging from, like nailed to the rafters up there. And I kept forgetting. Every time the waitress came past, I totally would forget to ask her, and then she'd go away, and then I'd look up and see the boots. I'm like, damn. But you actually got a newspaper. You got an 1800s, 1890s, 1890s, somewhere in the 1800s. You got a newspaper to read, that was part of the thing. It was sitting there on the table for you to read, this paper from the 1800s. And it was really cool. It was very well done. The food was awesome. And I can imagine there in the evening it gets very lively. And I looked out the window and I was overlooking this area, and this group that were out horseback riding came in and stopped, got off the horses, tied them all up, washed their hands, and then went to the outdoor area to have lunch. And then when they finished lunch, they got on back on their horses and off they went again. So yeah, and they got a chance to go and have a look around and all that sort of stuff too. So they had quite a good lunch break because I didn't see them on the trail leaving the ghost town until I was on the road heading back, and I was probably there another hour and a half to 2 hours after lunch. So I spent a good day there. It was awesome. So if you ever come to Arizona, go to Apache Junction, or Apple Junction, Apache Junction, which is out there in the Superstitious Mountains. Superstitious Mountains. And it's a great place to go visit. And they had these mining tours that you could do, and I was like, yeah, I really don't feel like doing that. I don't want to go to the mines. But they had zip lines and all that sort of stuff too. So it was a good place to go visit. And then I kind of wanted to do it, but then I was just sort of like, no, my feet are dragging by the time I discovered it. On the left side, as you're going up the main street, you get to one of the, actually, I think it was above the succulent stores. There's a spiral staircase that goes up to the next level, and you get taken on a tour of the madam's boudoir. And also like, ooh, that would be kind of interesting. There'll be some interesting stories to be told up there. But by that stage, I was sort of like, I'm just exhausted. I can't even bother with climbing stairs. I was exhausted because the whole thing's on a slight hill, so you walk up one side and down the other. So yeah, but that was a really good day out. But anyways, what does that all have to do with weeding? I have absolutely no idea. It was just a great story to tell. But when you're doing tune-ups for your systems and processes, you're weeding out the stuff that you don't need and leaving in the stuff that you do need. So that's what your Tune-Up Tuesday is all about, is getting out there, weeding out what you don't need, leaving what you do need, fine-tuning what you do need, maybe adding in extra bits, like that's the fertilizer stuff. We'll be adding in, the extra bits to help enhance the processes. We're going to fertilize that, and we're going to weed out the stuff we don't need. We're going to fertilize the stuff that's left behind so that it grows and sprouts and comes to fruition in the shape of goals and dreams, or getting stuff done by the end of the week. So I'm out of here. I got a puppy that would love to go for a walk. I'm sort of like, can we wait like another 20 minutes when the sun's set? But she's up there laying on her bed, so we probably could wait another 20 minutes. Anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for Winning Wednesday. Hey, konera. Where'd my mouse go? Oh, there it is. Oops, got to press that button.